Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chulas Pero Mulas. First of all, let me start up by saying Happy New Year, Feliz Año Nuevo. I hope that everybody has made some resolutions and hopefully started working on them. Even though I don't necessarily believe in that anymore, I kind of think that I'm kind of at a place in life where it's like you start doing stuff when you start doing it. It doesn't even matter when it is, as long as you start doing it. This episode, I am naming it Some of the Things I Learned in 2024. And it's kind of an interesting, it was a very interesting year for me. And a very interesting year for our country as a whole. And I'm really looking forward to this year. I think in spite of all the stuff that's happened, I think that good things are coming our way, and it's really important that we stay positive and believe in such things. So, for me personally, some of the things that I learned in 2024, I am going to say that I learned to be more comfortable, like in my own skin. I think I'm gonna have to say that it was a big lesson that I learned, because I feel like I learned a bunch of little lessons throughout the year, but like the big thing that I got out of it was that I learned how to be more comfortable in my own skin, and that was like a little bit that was interesting for me. That was like totally interesting for me, because I've always been like so like high anxiety and just like really like high adrenaline, and it's exhausting. It's just like super exhausting. So I'm really grateful that I learned better coping skills. I'm really grateful that I incorporated like these amazing breathing techniques, and just became more connected with nature and all things that are living. And it was pretty amazing. I'm gonna have to say that it was probably one of my best years, because there was like a bunch of lessons learned. Yeah, a bunch of lessons learned. So one of the things también that I kind of want to talk about a little bit is throughout me just kind of observing even just my own family, to be honest with you, because I feel like it happens so much within, like, in our culture, within our families, that we kind of stop paying attention. But I kind of feel that at this year I learned that like the traumatic events that happen within our families, like specifically in the Mexican American culture, siento que cuando pasan cosas como que y cuando hablo de cosas, I mean things that people don't normally talk about, like let's say any kind of abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. Like, I feel like people don't talk about that stuff. I feel like nobody talks about it. Nobody, like, todavía it's such a taboo kind of subject. And it's not like that I mean to bring it up, but I feel that it has affected, some of those things have affected so many, like a big chunk of my life, that I feel like it's just like bullshit. Like, it's just like bullshit that we don't have these like open conversations about some of the things that till this day like are still damaging to us. And it's really kind of crazy to me. I just find it like really crazy that we still are so uncomfortable to talk about some of that fucking trauma that we've been hauling around for like like for decades. So I'm just like, can we just talk about it so we can release it so we can move on, because honestly, like the only way that we're going to be able to move forward is by releasing it. So for me, like, I think this year I learned, or I'm sorry, in 2024 I learned that that part of me that that I've never like really talked about, that impacted like so much of my life. It was like I was never just Irene. I was like all these, labels that somehow like I put on myself, y, and I felt como que it was just like holding me back. It was just like holding me back, to feel like shame and guilt and shit like that. And I was just like, fuck that. Like, why would I ever feel guilty? Like, why would I ever feel bad about, about things that I had no control over, things that damaging things that happened to me as a child. Like I had no control over it. So why the fuck am I going to be hauling, with that stuff, like around all my life? And so personally, I have worked on those things already. And I have healed, many of those wounds, but I feel that it still like happens in our families. Like motherfuckers, like if you know that you fucking have a family member that is a fucking pedophile and he is a known child abuser, why would you invite him to family functions? Why would you invite him to, to be around children? Why would you do that? Why would you do that if you know what he is? And instead of, calling it out and doing something about it, you just kind of like sweep it under the rug and pretend like it's not happening. And that fucking pisses me off, because I feel like in our culture, it happens so much. I mean, there's even fucking jokes about it. Come on, guys. Like, fucking George Lopez has always made fun of it. Oh yeah, you always got that. You got the drunk uncle, you got the, the pedo uncle. And it's like, yeah, motherfucker, but who is that pedo uncle, like, abusing? Like, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's like something that, that has happened to so many of us, that has impacted our lives, like in tremendous ways, because, that part of my life, like really did a number on my life. And today I don't look at it like, oh my gosh, like, why me? No, I can't. I don't, and I can't, because I'm at the point in my life where I realized that it had to happen, because, it needed to shape me into the person that I am today. So I have a completely different view about it. I'm not angry. I don't have any of those feelings anymore, because they've already been resolved. But even with that said, like, like siento como que it's still like happening. It's still happening in homes. It's still happening in close-knit families. A lot of these things that have to do with, sexual abuse, that is like generational abuse. And it's like, fuck, we can trace it back to like, like our great grandparents. And it's like, it's bullshit. Like, it's bullshit, because if we are aware that this is happening and we're just pretending like it's not happening, then, we have to take some responsibility for that also. And be able to just like fucking talk about it. Like, talk about it. It's not like, I'm not Irene the abused. I'm Irene. I'm Irene. My name is Irene Diaz. That's my birth name. And I feel like it's, I did that to myself so many times, so many years, and it fucked me all up. It fucked me all up, and I feel like, it's like something that I needed to talk about, something that I needed to get off my chest, because I don't think that, again, y sí le he hecho poquito la culpa, no poquito la culpa, le he hecho mucho la culpa, that it has to do with our culture, that it has to do with that part that is like really ignorant, about being more open about it, about learning about it, about understanding, about advocating, about spreading awareness. Y sí le he hecho la culpa a eso porque, like, I've had a chance to witness it within, like I said, within my own family. And so I know that just like we are a Mexican American family, I know that there's a lot of other Mexican American families that are out there that have gone through really similar things as we have. Like, I don't look at my life like, oh my gosh, poor me, what a pity, oh my gosh, no, I think it was just an experience, like all the stuff that happened to me was just like this experience that I needed to go through. But it's a very, unique Mexican American experience, and that is the reason why, I wanted to create this platform so that I can actually speak about things like this. And so really interesting. I mean, it's like really, really interesting how we are still kind of like stuck, like we're stuck in that part of life where like we're still not talking about it. I'm not even going to say that part of life. I mean, it's just where we're stuck in that rut. It's just we're stuck in a rut because we refuse to know, because we refuse to get educated, because we refuse to understand. And then, our lack of understanding puts other people at risk. And that fucking sucks. And that sucks ass. And I think as a people, as Mexican American people, I feel like, we should like le debíamos echar más ganas a esa parte de la vida, because it's only gonna make us more knowledgeable. It's gonna help us protect the people that we love, protect the children that we love, because that's fucking important. Like, understand that, if you know that you have a fucking pedo in the home, like, why would you protect that person? Like, don't protect that person. Do the right thing. Speak up, say the right thing. And, it doesn't fucking matter what people say, what people think, ay, que la vergüenza, que it doesn't fucking matter. Like, what matters is that you stop this person from, causing any more damage to any other kids. Because if it happened with one kid, it probably happened with a bunch of other kids already. So then, us like pretending that we don't see anything, or we don't hear anything, or we don't do it, or we don't know anything doesn't make it right. Like, we should fucking talk about it. We should report it. We should have a meeting and tell the entire family about it. We should do that shit. Because if not, that damage is going to continue and continue, and there goes another cycle. There goes another generation, of abused children that grow up having all kinds of, problems with identity, self-esteem, all that, all the stuff that comes with trauma, So anyways, I kind of feel really strong about it, again, because, I've gone through that part of, through that really difficult part in life where, it damaged me severely in different points in my life. And I think just kind of like talking about it is like important, like it's important. And I know it's not the easiest thing. I know that it's difficult, and nobody wants to be the first one to do that. Nobody wants to, cause, like, como se dice, stir the pot or whatever. Nobody wants to do that. But I feel that, again, that it's our responsibility as, as people to say something and do something when it needs to be done. Anyways, I kind of I went on a rant there a little bit, but yeah, that was one of the really, really, really important things that I realized is this in 2024 that I have the ability now to speak up and, say the things that I need to say and advocate for the people that I need to advocate for. And that's my goal. Like, that's my goal, to be able to do that and to provide support eventually, once I get into that field, to provide support for the people that need support. So I think that's kind of like my life's journey. So I guess what I do is just follow it. There is a couple of things that I'm going to be working on this year, and I hope that that things kind of turn out the way that and I'm hoping they would, because I think part of my journey, part of my journey is to be able to do like all those things that I didn't get a chance to do when I was younger, because of life, because of things that were going on with me, with my mental health, with parts of my life that had to do with with addiction, and I didn't get a chance to do those things, and I'm like, and I feel like I'm really excited to kind of have clarity at this point in my life, to be able to do like some of this, just some of the crazy things that I love to do. And those crazy things like include, and I call them crazy because I guess I crazy based on I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit too judgmental on myself, but no, I guess they're not crazy. It's just things that I want to do, like get a degree and pursue like my passion in psychology, and work with holistic medicine, continue my spiritual journey, and be able to mentor people, and talk about like my journey, and my healing journey, I call it. And I'm really excited about that. Like, I'm really, really excited, about doing all these things, about doing some of the things I love, like frequency therapy and vibrational therapy, to help with aligning the chakras, and I mean, those are the things that I'm interested in, and those are the things that make me happy, and I love to share my knowledge and whatever experience I have. Like, I love to share it with people and talk about it, and just kind of let them know like what it is to to have this ability to have self-awareness. And so and it's kind of all connected, so it's kind of cool. Like, it's just kind of cool. Everybody's like been like super supportive. I think I think I probably, the person that's been like the hardest on me is probably, I think it's still me, because even though I work on it, and obviously I work on myself, and I'm being kind and being lovable to myself, sometimes because I'm just a human being, sometimes I become a little harsh, with myself, and maybe a little bit too demanding of myself. And so those would be some of the things that I want to work on 2025. And but I'm just kind of excited. I'm just excited about what the future holds. I'm excited about like creating new content for this podcast. I'm excited about upgrading my equipment, so I can have a better sound, and hopefully bringing on a lot more guests that are open to talking about their Mexican American experience. I am a firm believer that the Gen X immigrants are probably one of the most resilient generations, because we have gone through a lot of shit. When it comes to technology, like, we were the first generation that went from having no technology to going full to like a full immersion of technology. And now we're going to be the first generation, most likely, that is going to see the full immersion of like AI. And like, that's fucking like cool and exciting and kind of like scary at the same time. And like, I just feel like, we're just like resilient, because we've had to do like all these things that I feel like we were ready for. We're just like thrown into it. We were like, honestly, it feels like the Mexican American Gen X community is like, we're like those people that were just thrown into everything, and it was like sink or swim kind of thing. And we always did it, and we always did it, and we always we were always successful, and we always thrived, and we're just like this resilient like group of people. And so I believe that because of that resilience, we can share like a bunch of different stories. It's just, our journey is nothing but a big story. And those are the stories that like I that I want to share. Stories like my story and my family's story, and the good things and the bad things about being a Mexican American, because there's like so many areas when it comes to being Mexican American that have defined us as a generation. And so it's fucking cool. And I'm like so excited about it. And I've been doing this. I started this podcast about probably a little bit over a year ago. And in the beginning, it was hard to get people to come on as guests. And as I started going along, I felt like it gotten a little easier, and people were a little bit more open to talking. But I still feel like there's still a resistance. So I don't know. I mean, I have this like really curious mind, and I'm always like wanting to know like why we're resisting about talking about like just these cool things that have to do with our generation, with their experience as Mexican Americans, with all these experiences that we share as Mexican Americans. Is the levels of like for example, is being a Mexican American, like the definitions that people give themselves. Like, no, I'm an educated. I just recently heard I'm not a Chicano. I don't identify as Chicano or Mexican American. I identify as an educated Mexican. And I was like, oh shit, I never heard that one. But I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, he grew up here. He grew up he immigrated to the U.S. when he was 9, and he joined the military, and he basically he finished elementary school and then went on to junior high. He went to high school. He graduated high school. He joined the military, and he went to college. So he has a college education, and he's been working in the U.S. workforce, pretty much since he left the military, or before he joined the military. But he considers himself an educated Mexican. He doesn't consider himself a Chicano, or he doesn't call himself Mexican American. And so those are kind of like the things that I'm interested in also, because I consider myself a Chicana. When I found out what the definition of Chicana and what it really was, and that I fit in that category, I guess, I realized that my identity is as a Chicana. Like, I now identify as a Chicana because that fits who I am. But that's just me. Like, when I talked to Laura, I think Laura was still like a little bit like on the fence about it. So it's easier for her to call herself a Mexican American than a Chicana. And then her boyfriend is like second generation. I think he's like second generation Mexican American, and he calls himself a Chicano. He says, I'm a Chicano. I don't, he fits the criteria, and he doesn't speak Spanish. And so I want to be able to have conversations about that, because I think those are really fucking cool. Like, the way we identify ourselves, when we all come from, pretty much the same place, and our roots are, stay in the same areas. So I want to be able to have conversations about that, like about like some of the culture, the cultural traditions that we still uphold up till now. Las cosas que hacemos, como hacer tamales, ¿qué más hacemos? Como hacer tamales, or la rosca de Reyes, ¿qué otras cosas? este, I don't know, I can't think of a lot of stuff right now, but there's like a bunch of like, a bunch of cultural traditions that that we still keep, like that we still keep like in our, one of the things that I just remember, like for example, ¿quién prende el radio y pone los Bookies o los Temerarios or Shakira or, the Smiths, cuando están limpiando la casa? I think that's like that's esa es una de traditions que tenemos. Like I think we can see it as a Mexican American tradition, porque yo me acuerdo que we've been doing that since we were kids because that's what my mom did. And in Mexico it was like, pues eso era lo que se hacía en México. Se sabe que todas las mujeres están limpiando la casa porque, los fines de semana traen el radio a todo volumen. Si es en el día, si es en la noche, pues normalmente ya es una peda, ¿verdad? Porque ya están los hombres ya en la peda, pero si es en el día, normalmente son las mujeres que están limpiando la casa. So, I mean, I think that's fucking interesting. I mean, I think like, there's things that are indicative to our culture, que vienen de Mexico, pero we kept here in the United States, and we still hold true. Cosas como like traditions like the quinceañeras, we still participate in that here. There a lot of Mexican American people are still part of that tradition. About having these like lavish parties, the quinceañeras for their daughters. Now, I think a lot of like people in our generation might have tweaked it a little bit. Perhaps no tenemos los parties like, like, I don't know, like honestly, I'm gonna say I was gonna say lavish parties, but I'm gonna take that back because I don't have a lot of experience with quinceañeras because it's not a tradition that I decided to keep, with my family. So I didn't have quinceañeras for either of my daughters. So and then my sisters, había parties, like a party, like just like a regular party, a small party, pero no eran like the big parties. Entonces the only thing that I know how to compare is by, the other people around me. And so I know that there is people that still do it, pero se me hace que nosotros, our generation, has just tweaked it a little bit. It's kind of a combination of, sometimes there's big parties, I think, and then sometimes there's not, like, it's like a medium-sized party. So, but I think there's still kind of like a party, like there's still a celebration. And so, I don't know, like, eso también se me hace kind of like, se me hace interesting. And I like to talk about those things because it's not something that I practice, and it's not something that, like, I don't think I understand it fully. To be honest, I don't understand it fully because I think that I've gone more with like the American culture cuando tiene que ver eso. Like, I just always kind of thought that, like, you put money away for college or you put money away for a trip, so that they can do something that they really want. Si se puede, si hay dinero. And se hace eso, but not like a big party, because it's like, well, you have this big party and it's a lot of money, y luego pues nomás es un ratito. And, but I guess everybody just kind of has different ideas when it comes to the experience. For me personally, that's kind of how I feel about, like that tradition. Entonces we just, I think Cruz and I think we agreed on that mejor se les, or we would save up. I think for my oldest daughter, le compramos un carrito viejito as our first car, pero ese fue like, something that we gave her. Entonces, my youngest daughter, we just had a little party for her. But I mean, I think that, hay gente que todavía, like I said, they really stick to that tradition, and there's people that just don't anymore. So I wouldn't be able to talk about that, like that, for example. my opinion versus somebody else's opinion, and just kind of have a conversation about that. Entonces, I'm really excited about this year to be able to have, some guests that are willing, to kind of express their views and opinions, and talk about what it is, everything that has to do with the Mexican American experience that they want to talk about, raising kids, like education, mental health. It's algo que I've been. That's something that is it's also a part of why I decided to do this, and it has to do with my personal experience with a member of my family that is mentally ill, and that's my my little brother. So that's also gonna take about a full episode, but I can definitely talk a little bit about it. I know that as I've recorded the episodes, I know that he's come up and I've mentioned him, but he is my little brother. He's the second to the youngest. His name is Junior, the same as my dad Arturo, and he's schizophrenic. So he was diagnosed with schizophrenia when he was about, I'm gonna say, like maybe 13, which is when he had like the first episode. And from there on, it was, life was difficult. It was really difficult because my mom and dad had a really hard time navigating the system. Especially we're talking about probably, we're talking about over 20 years ago. And so, them not being able to speak English was like really difficult for them. So, me participating and Laura and Claudia participating and getting him help was like really important. It became like really, really important for our family because it was like that thing that we had to do in our family, to help out the family, and like translating and doing all the things that we needed to do was important. I remember I was 20 years old and I was already married. And I was pregnant with my first daughter, and then Junior was that. I believe that was the first time that he was taken into custody and was sentenced to 5 years at what is it, CYA, California Youth Authority, and they took him for 5 years, and he was gone from the age of, I think it was from 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, because he got home when he came back when he was 18. And from there, it was just like it was like an uphill battle because we didn't understand. First of all, we didn't understand what was happening. We didn't, because of our lack of understanding, everybody's lack of understanding, including my parents. They weren't able to, get him the adequate help, and our family suffered. I believe that a lot of the traumas that we have endured in our family, and the family that I was born into, has to do with his illness, and that was like a really, really difficult part in my life because it impacted me directly because I don't know. I think it was because we were raised as such a close-knit family that it was just like really hard to see, the kid that I helped raise, get taken away. It was like so difficult, and talking about it for a long time was like almost impossible. And we didn't, like, nobody talked about it. Nobody mentioned it, And, but now he's been gone he's been away for quite some time now. And, I think I have gone to the point, that I understand that, it's life and I have no control. There's things that I have no control over, and I have to live my life because it's my job, to live my life. And, letting go of someone, it's fucking hard. It's fucking hard. And being able to talk about it and heal some of the parts that have been like so difficult throughout life, because of my attachment to him, like, have been hard. Like, they've been like really, really hard. Um and I've never, I don't think I've ever lost, like, and I don't think I've ever lost hope. I think I've always believed that he will be better one day, and one day he will be, he'll have a life and he'll be happy. And um I've always, I wish good things for him. I've always wished good things for him, but I also know that it's important for me to move on with my life and to have a life and to be happy. And it's not my fault. It's not my fault that he's ill. It's not my fault that his life went the way it went. It's not my fault. None of it is my fault. And yet, I let it affect so much of my life, including my life with the family that I eventually created. So things like that, like being able to talk about things that are like difficult, that sometimes it's like we kind of want to put away, but if we don't express, and if we don't let that stuff out, like, sometimes I have a strong belief that it does something to us physically, and it damages our body. It sickens our bodies. And so because I love me so much, it's really important that I don't hold on to any of that, negative feelings or emotions that are just eventually going to sicken me. And so I encourage, that is one of the reasons why I encourage people, to speak about, some of the things that they just need to let out, and as people, I believe that we shouldn't be judgmental. I believe that we should allow everybody to, speak their truth, and just lend an ear. And I think if more of us did that, I think we could create, something a little bit better than the kind of world that we live in today. So anyways, with that said, I'm really looking forward to this year, like I said. And if any of you guys want to come on my show, like, I encourage everybody to speak about what it is that they want to speak about, even if it just has to do with things like they remember about the Gen X, Mexican American, like, community, things like music, things like, reminiscing about, some of the things that we used to do. Like, I used to belong to a party crew. I was in a party crew, the Undeniables. And it was like a super cool, fun time in my life. And I am like, I love music. Music is, the thing that keeps me alive. So, even sharing, anecdotes about, just memories, like, the places that we used to party, because most of us partied around, very similar places. And we just, a lot of us probably within that were raised in, or that lived in Orange County, around in the late 80s, early 90s, and the 90s, remember some like a lot of the same places, because I think we all kind of visited the same places. So I'm really looking forward to anybody that is interested. You can find me on Instagram. If you guys are interested, just shoot me a DM and Instagram. You can find me under, what is it, Chulas Pero Mulas 714. And you can do that at Instagram, or you can find me under TikTok. I'm also on TikTok, Chulas Pero Mulas 714 as well. And really excited, and I look forward to hearing from anybody that's interested in coming on as a guest and just kind of shooting the shit, because I feel like that's pretty much what it's all about. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your life to listen to my chat, or to my rant, I'm gonna say. And we'll talk soon. Stay kind, be kind, and remember that we're only here for a second. So till next time, guys.